and welcome back to You're A Goddamn Cheetah with me, Jenna, the Scorpio Moon Coach. How are you? How are you doing? How are you feeling? How are the summer holidays treating you? I have managed to grab a snippet of time to record this episode because, yeah, this is my first time of doing that whole summer holiday juggle. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster. I'm not going to lie, as I said, I'm always going to bring you, I just want to be as honest with you as possible at all times. And currently, while I'm recording this, it is Leo season and we're in a dark moon right now. So I have been feeling a lot more tired and really, really emotional at the moment, which is why this kind of came bubbling up inside of me. And I was flicking through the book Untamed. You can see it here for those who are watching it on video, which is this magical book full of wisdom and insight. And I regularly just flip the pages, read certain chapters, dip in and out of it because I just find so much wisdom in there, like at the time that I need it. I come back to it time and time again. And which is where this whole podcast came from. And today I've been really called to look at the chapter Keys, but literally just the first couple of pages. It's almost like the little prologue or like the introduction, really. And yeah, it's page 45 for anyone oh, what is that? Which one is that? So it's that chapter that we're going to be digging into today. And I think the reason I was so drawn to it is because the whole chapter really is about how we hide our true essence. And Glennon in the chapter kind of calls it her, like this inner spark within her that she always felt smoldering inside of her. But recently, in the last couple of weeks, I've really been leaning into what my true kind of essence is. And I tell you why. It's because, like we say, I'm recording this episode in Leo season, okay? And I have a Leo sun sign. We're not just our sun signs, we also have a moon sign and a rising sign. I encourage you to find out yours. It's all part of this birth chart, which is this astrological blueprint of who you are. There's a lot of resources on my Instagram page at Scorpio Moon Coach if you want to dig into that. And I've done a free mini astrology course as well if you're like, oh, tell me more, and if you want to dig into that. But I think the reason I've been really thinking about this true essence is because my sun sign Leo is something that I was very disconnected with for a really long time. And I am also on the precipice of about to take part in my first ever in-person event with the wonderful Lisa and Faye, who some of you may already know and follow. We're doing Courageous AF on Saturday, which is huge, absolutely huge. And the reason it's all come together so so perfectly, really, in terms of the energies, because Leo is the lion. It is brave, it is courageous, and it has like this big kind of playful, joyful, let me be seen energy. Let me be seen. Okay. And for a really long time, I have very much been like, don't look at me. No one look at me. Nothing to see here. I just want to keep myself small and kind of, really humble, and just don't look at me. I've got nothing to say. And that has been the theme of so much of my life. And when I had my birth chart read 2 years ago now, And we dug into like what my sun sign is, what my moon sign and my rising sign is. My rising sign is Cancer, which is this wonderful watery sign. It's like the sign of the mother. It's like, let me protect, let me nurture, let me look after everyone, let me hold everybody else. And I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely me. That Cancer vibe, definitely a bit of me. But that is part of who I am. But this sun sign, this your sun sign is how you shine. Like, literally think of it as the sun. It's how you shine, what lights you up. And I was not leaning into that sun sign at all. I was not leaning into that Leo energy. I have a lot of courageous energy kind of bubbling underneath here. I want to be seen. I really, really do. But it's taken me a long time to actually admit that and kind of work towards that. And so I think I've, the dark moon is kind of bringing up all of these emotions. It's really stirring stuff within me at the moment, because I'm really exploring that essence, that spark that has always been inside of me, smoldering away, as Glennon says. But I've hidden it. And so it feels, this whole theme feels really alive in me at the moment, as I'm about to kind of really step into this like Leo energy, like leading other people with Faye and Lisa in this in-person event, which is very much like, look at me, I've got something to say and I'm going to be in person saying it. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of, this chapter, I just think had so much wisdom in it, because I want us to think about, if we even know what our kind of true essence is. Like, do you have an idea of what that is? Do you know what your sun, moon and rising sign are? Like, have you investigated that? Are you curious? Like, have you even given yourself, you want to know, but have you actually prioritized yourself in terms of making space, making time to actually investigate and discover that for yourself? Because that was a massive turning point for me, was learning these parts of myself and getting to grips with my true essence. And as you go along this chapter, Glennon kind of, she basically talks about how we have this essence, don't we? And it's probably the most alive in us, this true nature, this true essence, when we're children, young children. And we just don't give a shit, do we? We just kind of, we are who we are. I look at my youngest now, who's 2. She is just truly herself. Like, there's no, at the moment, there's no masks that she's putting on for other people, or she's not people pleasing in any way. She is just her true essence, and she just moves through the world, through life, day to day, just with this true essence. But as we grow, we contain ourselves, don't we? We put masks on. We kind of, we learn that, that the society, people around us, kind of, we learn to people please and hide parts of ourselves, to become smaller in order to kind of make ourselves feel safer in certain situations. And slowly over time, that essence, that true spark, that sun sign, there's that moon sign, that rising sign, whatever it is for you, they start to become less, and they start to diminish in some way. That spark kind of gets kind of smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller inside us. And it's only when you, sometimes I guess when you get that boiling point, is how she describes it, or that moment or that kind of catalyst of something that comes along, and you can no longer kind of contain yourself. You realize, I'm not being who I fucking am supposed to be in this life. I'm hiding myself. I'm not being true to myself. And this for me has been just leaning into this Leo side of me has been an absolute game changer. I think I've reached, it's helped me navigate my marriage separation, who I want to be in my business, how I want to show up as a friend, how I want to show up as a mother, how I want to approach dating, like all of these things. It's just this not wanting to dampen my essence anymore is this deeply profound lesson that I have learned, and I'm still learning and still uncovering. And I think the reason I've been emotional about it as well, because the one thing I do want to say is, over a dark moon, whenever, if you have my moon calendar, that will give you the reminders of when a dark moon is coming. It brings up all these kind of emotions, right? And I now know that when I feel emotional about something, that is a signpost telling me, listen, something needs attention, something needs change. Listen. We are so trained to think that being emotional is too much. You're too dramatic. You're a bit oversensitive. And leaning into your emotions and getting curious about what that is trying to tell me, what is going on, is like a superpower. And I've been really listening to that in the run up to Courageous AF and over this dark moon. And it's making me emotional because I'm looking at myself and really leaning into what this true essence of me is, but also what is the true essence of these two little people that I am raising, and am I honoring their essence? Am I honoring that this spark inside of them? Because what I'm also realizing is that it's my job to, as much as possible, help them contain as much of their essence as possible, so that they don't have to mask. And I mean, so obviously that's not all in my control, but there are always going to be other external school and friendships and other significant people in their lives, that I can't control the whole thing. And by all means, I'm not saying that, but as much as possible, I really want to nurture that true essence, that true spark that they have within them, so that they kind of, I guess, don't have to be in this situation where they're at 38 and I'm like, oh shit, yeah, I really I have so much Leo energy and I just haven't been using it. So I really want today, I want us to just lean into thinking about the parts of ourselves that we hide away and that we lock away, and what needs to be unleashed within you. And do you need to investigate and give yourself the space and time to explore that essence, that true spark within you, and that true, honest, authentic, wild self, which we kind of came down here to be. I've been doing this amazing workshop with Dr. Shivali, and she was saying, you know, as when if you see a 2-year-old, and if they're kind of a bit, you know, they're shyer, they're more kind of like a bit more introverted, they kind of like they're in space, like that kind of vibe, that is probably a rough idea of like who they're going to be when they're older. Whereas if they kind of come in, they've got bags of energy, they're hopping about, they've got just like more energy, say, then that is probably, they're going to carry that personality hopefully through, you know, to adulthood. Like you kind of around 2, you kind of get a rough sense of like who the true nature of this like little person is. And yeah, saying that, like, you know, the task here is for just them to keep as much of that true who they are as possible. And yeah, it's been making me super emotional, looking at myself, but also looking at the girls and thinking, who are you? Like, what is your essence right now? What do I need to try and help nurture, help maintain within you? And the astrology, the kind of knowing their birth chart, knowing their sun, moon, and rising sign has massively helped me. It doesn't give me all the answers, but it gives me like a golden nugget of information about them that helps me like steer kind of myself in a way of mothering them, which I feel like is more them, because you know, we are all so unique. We are all, when you look at your birth chart, everybody's birth chart is completely unique to them. We are all made up of this magical recipe. And, you know, the way that I think that I should be parenting one might not be the way that she needs to be parented. And also the way that I'm parenting one daughter may need to actually be completely the opposite for the other daughter. Like, but and what I'm saying is, in just like small, like little kind of tweaks in how you kind of do things or what they need. And I think a lot of that we do know intuitively. But sometimes when we're really busy and there's so many distractions and we're not used to tuning into our intuition because there's just all the things going on, it can be really hard to lean on that. So I have found, like, knowing my daughter's sun, moon, and rising sign has just been absolutely just a gift, just a real gift. A real gift. And it's been making me emotional because I just feel really grateful that I have that information and that I can continue to like lean on that to help me navigate through parenting, which has its ups and downs. And God, some days I just really struggle, and then other days we just have the best day. Like, it's a real bloody roller coaster, isn't it? But just also, even if you don't have kids, just knowing your own sun, moon, and rising sign, and getting to grips with like getting a curiosity and giving yourself the space and time to think about what your own essence is, what your own spark is. Because and I want to leave you with this like last bit of the chapter. But Glennon basically talks about how, you know, she was trained to mistrust and hide and abandon certain parts of herself just to make other people comfortable, because this is what we do, don't we? As when people please, we put on these masks. And slowly over time, she's leaned into what this essence is, what this spark is, to resurrect parts of herself that were hidden away. And which is like her emotions, her intuition, her imagination, her courage. And she talks about how leaning into these parts and making sure that the essence of who she is not lost, that's the keys to freedom, the keys to being who it is that you are truly meant to be, who you came down as, who you were as that like 2-year-old, like being like free enough to really kind of tap into who it is, that once we take away all of those masks and conditioning and people pleasing and all of that, and all the kind of ways that we shrink ourselves and we want to hide and we want to abandon ourselves for, you know, for other people, we can just strip all of that away and we can just unlock ourselves, free ourselves, so we can just stand and say, here I am, this is who I am, this is who I was meant to be. And I just think that is such a gift to ourselves. And it is just the most wonderful gift to your children, to be able to see their essence, understand their essence, and be able to create connection with them, and just move through life, through this parent-child relationship or relationships with other people, just knowing that you're honoring who you are and you're also honoring who they are, like in that true, authentic, honest way. Yeah, I really gonna update you all on Courageous AF and how that kind of all went and what how I felt afterwards. I'm just feeling so a little bit nervous, but mostly just excited to just really fucking lean into it, really be seen, really get that kind of courageous Leo energy going, and I cannot wait. If you are interested in finding out about your sun, moon and rising sign, and just you're curious about, you want to get to grips with like what this true essence is of you, if you're interested in your children, I have a birth chart coaching package. Find that on Instagram or on my website, www.scorpiomooncoach.co.uk. Or if you're just craving the space and time to actually just for you to start exploring your, like, if you feel like the spark inside of you, it's just like it's really dampened down and you actually just want to take a time and space to just reignite that and give yourself the time and space to work out who you are, where you're going, what it is that you want to create, what it is that you want, what needs to change. The Rebirth of You which is my group course, signature groups course, is starting on September 14th, sorry. And it's 5 weeks. We talk about moon magic, menstrual, the power in practicing your menstrual cycle, inner child work. Like, there is so many self-discovery tools within that. And it's everything that I have done to get to where I am today in terms of working out this true essence of me and what it is and where I want to go. So I really encourage you to check that out if you're in that kind of space. And then there is the upgrade available to have your birth chart read in the Rebirth of You as well. So that's all, you know, go to my link in the bio in Instagram or on my website. That information is all there for you. I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for listening. I cannot tell you how grateful I am that you are listening along. And for those of you that message me and say, oh my God, I bought Untamed, I'm absolutely loving it. God, it just fills me with so much joy, because I just want to scream it from the rooftops that this book just holds so much wisdom, and it just sparks so many ideas and things I want to bring to you guys. So if you haven't already, I really encourage you to read it, and please follow along. You're a Goddamn Cheetah. Tell your friends, and yeah, I will see you next week.